Hey everybody, I'm Katrina and I'm giving you my thoughts on the Royal Rumble. So because of COVID, WWE has been pretty hit or miss with some of the pay-per-views and their regular shows like Raw, SmackDown, NXT. So I was kind of curious to see how they were going to pull off this year's Royal Rumble when this is the first Rumble without an audience. And granted, there is a Thunderdome audience, but a virtual audience is not the same thing as people being there live. It's a whole different feel. Considering somebody I've been in the Dome quite a few times, and while I've always had a pretty decent time and I was still able to talk my crap and everything, it's a different vibe. So when you see people coming out when the countdown happens, you're like, oh, okay, well, it's great from home, but it's also a different reaction from the audience. Anyway, overall, I really did like the show. I felt like this was a nice, good pay-per-view to kick off the road to WrestleMania. So before the Rumble actually started, the very first match was on the kickoff show, and it was Asuka and Charlotte Flair versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax for the Women Tag Team Champions. I went in thinking they were going to let Asuka and Charlotte Flair keep it, only because it seemed like they were being friendly enough and gelling. However, when there was a little interview before that match and Asuka seemed really excited and Asuka went out first, I didn't like that Charlotte kind of gave a look like, kind of implied, look, okay, she doesn't care as much as I thought she did. And that maybe she'll be coming for Asuka's title in the next few months. That's the vibe I got. It gave me really mean girl vibes. So she was just like, kind of made a funny face, like, okay, we're not where you thought we were. So I didn't like that. So I figured once I saw that, I was like, okay, they're going to lose the belts. They did lose the belts, and Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax wound up becoming champions again. And I guess it could be said it was sort of predictable, only because they don't seem to have much direction for Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler by themselves as solos, women wrestlers. So they have them together as a team. And they were pretty dominant, except for when they had the whole Lana thing, where Lana was pretty much getting one up over them. It was pretty decent. So, I'm okay with it. I don't really care for Shayna Baszler. I do like Nia Jax to an extent. So I'm okay. Let's see how they can keep trying to dominate. And hopefully we get some better tag team wrestling happening with the women's division. So the very first match of the night was Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg for the WWE Championship. Now, when Goldberg first came on my TV screen about, I want to say 3.5 to 4 weeks ago, I was very, very, very agitated. I do not like Goldberg. I do not like him. I do not like him. I do not like him. And I get that people want to debate me about this, about, oh, he's a legend, and he did this, this, and this. And I feel I have to always remind people that dude cannot wrestle. I don't care how many spears he can do. I don't care how strong his spear is. I don't care anything about his jackhammer. I don't care that he had an entrance with security. Don't care what his streak was in WCW. Why do I not care about any of those things? Because he set his bald-headed ass right on the WWE Network and said himself that he did not know how to wrestle. He could not wrestle. And WCW used to give him really quick matches. He'd do his 1 or 2 moves and get out of there because the fans would have saw that he could not wrestle. So with all that being said, anytime somebody tries to tell me how much of a legend he is, and why it is okay for him to be on the TV, and why it is okay for him to just randomly say he wants to have a title match and get it, he cannot wrestle. He's not talented in the ring. I am not debating anybody over this. I am sorry. He only had that streak because WCW made him dominant, not because... And I get, yes, wrestling has storylines and there's scripts and et cetera, et cetera. We all understand this is sports entertainment. I understand all of that. However, Goldberg cannot wrestle. And since he admitted it out of his own mouth, I don't know why people always want to defend him like they're his father. Or he's their father, and they're his children, and all types of shenanigans that they'd be like, oh my god, Katrina, do not Katrina me. I said what I said. He cannot wrestle. So, I was very upset to see this crap on my TV screen. But the universe was like, you know what, Katrina, we got you. And Drew McIntyre won and retained, as he should have. And the fact that Goldberg looked winded. Like when he got Drew over the Thunderdome audience and he speared him through the barricade and it was like right in front of the virtual audience, this was the perfect opportunity to kick Drew McIntyre's ass. But what did Goldberg do? He got back in the ring and started breathing like he needed a bunch of Gatorade or water or oxygen mask, something. He looked very winded. And this is why I keep telling people, just stop being okay with Goldberg coming into the ring. He cannot wrestle and he can barely hang on anymore. Let it go. Not that he was hanging on well before, but now he really can't hang on. And I think that debacle with him and The Undertaker should have stopped that a long time ago. But magically, I see him on my TV screen again. So I am glad. that Drew McIntyre retained. And granted, he gave a bunch of hugs to Drew and etc., etc., but I didn't care about any of that because we should have had that match in the first place. It was a waste of a match. It was a waste of Drew's talents. It was a waste of time for me. But I'm glad that Drew, my slayer that he is, with his great sword and his kilt and all the fires and pyro and all, I'm glad he retained, as he should have, because shenanigans, 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 shenanigans. Next up was the SmackDown Women's Championship between Sasha Banks and Carmella. So the match was pretty solid. I felt like there was times Carmella kind of botched a couple of moves, and I was kind of annoyed by that part. And she did have Reginald, and I did like the chemistry again between Reginald and Sasha Banks, as it was on the SmackDown prior to the Royal Rumble. So Reginald kind of gave me vibes that the dude in, like, you know, the corner store. At least I'm a New Yorker, so, you know, sometimes you're just trying to get a bag of chips, get a soda, and you got that one guy going, psst, 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 yo ma, and you're just like, okay, here we, not today, like, can we not? That is the vibes I got from Reginald when Sasha Banks walked down the ramp and he was like, looking at her like that. I was like, he gives me corner store dude vibes. And it was funny only because it was like the expression on his face. He had his like suit pants and his shoes. And I'm like, all right, dude, you remind me of some of the dudes I've seen around where I live. So it's fine. But Sasha Banks actually should have retained, and I didn't feel she was going to lose because she worked too hard to beat Bayley. Bayley was the longest reigning women's champion. She had a really, like, for SmackDown at least, she had a really, like, long run. So Sasha had to get through all of this to win it. So it's like, Sasha's hot right now. She's doing her thing. There's no reason for her to lose the match. So she did win and retain for that. So next up is the Women's Royal Rumble. So the match started out with Bayley and Naomi as 1 and 2 for the Rumble, and shortly after we had to get number 3 is Bianca Belair. And I want to say that, you know, because it's really important when I get to the bottom of this. So we had a few people come back. There was Jillian Hall, that was pretty cool. Tori Wilson, you know, whatever. We had Rhea Ripley, Dakota Kai, Shotzi Blackheart, Toni Storm come from NXT. We had Victoria, and I just need to thank you WWE for finally acknowledging Victoria and having her back in the Rumble. Victoria is so underrated, and I feel like people ignore how great she was. And WWE kind of ignored what she did when she wasn't a beast when she was there. So it was really good to see Victoria. And granted, she moved a bit slow, but she seemed injured. She was wearing a knee brace, so I'm assuming something happened. But she still moved pretty well, and I loved her gear. Her gear was so freaking dope. The whole, like, I got Spider-Man vibes. I was like, yes, 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 Victoria. So happy. So eventually, the final 3 in the match was Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, and Charlotte Flair. Now, we go back to a few months ago or rather, I want to say almost a year ago, when Charlotte came down to NXT, and it was a whole thing between her and Rhea and Bianca kind of gave the line for Mean Girls when she was like, you don't even go here. So it was nice to see the 3 of them end up back in the ring together, where it was like, okay, we kind of work in one-on-one, but let's get Charlotte Flair out. So Rhea and Bianca did get Charlotte Flair out, and eventually, Bianca did throw Rhea Ripley to become the Women's Royal Rumble winner. I do want to highlight one of the spots I did really, really appreciate, which was Naomi almost getting eliminated, and she used Bianca Belair's hair braid to, like, pull herself back in the ring, and then they kind of did, like, a shimmy to adjust themselves. I thought that was really creative. I thought it was really cool. It was a nice, like, sisters helping sisters, and I appreciated that so much. You know, Black Girl Magic, and I love that spot so much, and Naomi, I love seeing her in the ring anyway, so big ups to that. So not only did Bianca break a record last year in the Royal Rumble, where she eliminated 8 women and made a record, she also made another record by being in the Royal Rumble for 2021 over 56 minutes. She also is the very first Black woman to ever win a Royal Rumble, and then she's the second Black person to win a Royal Rumble, followed by The Rock, who was the first. So I thought that was pretty cool that she made history. Black Girl Magic all day. I am so proud of her. I, like, screamed when she got that, and I was like, yes, it is letting everybody know EST all day. So I'm so happy she won that. I was just, like, so grateful that WWE, like, let her shine like they do. And I'm hoping that, you know, they don't do shenanigans with her character later on. Then we had Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens in a last man standing match. It was a really good match, and it seemed like Roman Reigns' matches for, like, so far since he's been back has been these really weird stipulation type matches. You know, I quit matches. I think he had, like, a cage match the other time. So Kevin Owens, usually I knew, because Kevin Owens is such a great worker, that he was going to do his thing and perform, and he did. And at one point, I was a little worried that Roman was going to lose. Like, I like Kevin Owens, but this is Roman Reigns. He is the tribal chief. He is the head of the table. He's everything. And I feel like the world, we need more Roman Reigns in our lives. You know, the universe is like, Katrina, it's your time to just look at greatness on the TV screen. That is Roman Reigns. So I'm getting the greatness in Roman Reigns. I get to see him, wrestle with, his shirt off, and he licking his lips really slow for the camera. Mostly for me, because, it's not for me, but I'm just, like, in my head, it's for me. So anyway, Roman Reigns is doing his thing, and it was a little segment during the match where Paul Heyman kind of struggled to get the handcuffs off, and it kind of sucked, because I was like, this was a good match, and then that kind of ruined the mood for me, because it was just like, he was struggling real hard, and I'm guessing there was a bit of a thing with the cuffs that the referee had to even stop counting. And while it was cool that Roman got rid of the first ref to stop the count, the second ref was just like, he just gave up. And I felt like it should have been another way to pull that off where we wouldn't see that much of the botch. So the match itself was good. Roman Reigns did retain his championship, as he should have. But that kind of ruined it for me when it was just like, oh, okay. Oh, all right. This is what we're doing today. Like, y'all really just couldn't even get the cuffs off. Like, maybe use, like, those toy cuffs you see in stores kids use for the costumes or something. I don't know. But it kind of ruined it for me, so it was a good match, but I just really wish that botch didn't happen. It just kind of made me very sad. Last but not least, the men's Royal Rumble. The very first two men in the Royal Rumble for the men was Edge and Randy Orton. I went in for a few people, but there was one I was very definite on just because of what was leading up to it. But the match was entertaining. We had Christian return, which was pretty cool to see him and Edge in the ring after all these years together again, tag team. Obviously, Randy Orton and Edge was rated RKO, so that was a tag team. We got Kane and Daniel Bryan. They were part of the Hell No tag team. That was pretty cool to see. There was Carlito came back, and dude was looking super buff and in shape, and I was like, all right, bro, okay, dude. You was, doing your reps and you're exercising and pumping that iron and all types of stuff and eating your apples, because he had his apple. He was eating his apples during quarantine. Look at you, like, all right, bro, all right. I appreciated that. It was nice to see him. Nakamura did his thing. Cesaro did his thing. I kind of, heart-wise, I did want Big E to win because I felt like he needs to get pushed finally. Mustafa Ali was there, Xavier Woods. And there were a couple of spots that were really, really cool. That was dope. However, also, before I get to that part, Seth Rollins did make his return. He had his dad leave. Becky Lynch had the baby. And I actually thought she might have made an appearance. I'm guessing she's waiting for WrestleMania. But Seth Rollins did return. And he wound up being one of the final four in the ring. But overall, Edge did get the win. Now, I feel like I'm in the minority here because apparently a lot of people was going for Daniel Bryan. I am not sure why, because I was not going for Daniel Bryan. And I totally understand he never wore a Royal Rumble before. Yada, yada, yada. Oh, he deserved it. I mean, maybe, but we're not going to act like he didn't retire, like, twice or something. And then, like, the last time he came back for retirement, he won a title. He did win. He even got the whole eco-friendly championship belt, where it looked like wood, and it was supposed to be all these eco-friendly things for his belt. It went with the gimmick. It was perfectly fine. But he did win a championship after he returned. So did he need to go to WrestleMania and have another title? Not necessarily. I get that he didn't wear the Royal Rumble. He has a 1-1, so he could have had that story. But he did win the WWE Championship already after he came back. So did he really need that win? No, he didn't. And while I am personally understanding that we need more younger people winning things, and I totally agree, I do understand the Edge angle. Edge put the video out for the Royal Rumble that he was going to the Royal Rumble. It was very emotional. And I felt off that alone, he was going to win. Edge never lost his championship belt. He had to give it away because he got that really bad neck injury. And we didn't think we would ever see Edge wrestle again, hence why he's in the Hall of Fame. So to see him work, and he lasted the whole match. He was number one in the Royal Rumble. He lasted the whole match, and he did get Randy Orton, his former tag team partner, out to win. And Christian did help him a bit, and I appreciated that. But Edge probably is getting his one more run, hoorah, so he can retire on his own terms and not with a really devastating neck injury. So while I understand people wanting younger people to win, because I definitely agreed on that one, let's not act like Daniel Bryan needed that. Daniel Bryan didn't need to win. I feel like people love complaining about, oh, you don't look about Goldberg. I don't like Goldberg because he can't wrestle. Edge and Daniel Bryan at least can wrestle. But Daniel Bryan did get a title shot since he came back from retirement. So I don't really feel like he needed another title. For what? Nobody can seem to explain that part to me about why he would have needed to win the Rumble. If it wasn't anybody new, Edge was the next person, and it did make sense, and he did win it. So overall, I loved the Rumble. It was a really good pay-per-view to start off 2021. I'm excited to see what we're going to get for WrestleMania, and I hope WWE don't drop the ball with Bianca specifically. Do not drop the ball with her. Show everybody, which I knew about her from NXT, that she is amazing. She is fabulous. Again, that black girl magic. You guys tell me in the comments how you felt about the Royal Rumble. Did your picks win? Were you happy with some of the returns? Were you disappointed with the matches? Let me know in the comments. I will read and respond to them. Thank you so much for watching my videos as always. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, guys.